Naveen Chopra, the Chief Financial Officer at ViacomCBS, joins us now. Naveen, thanks so much for taking the time here with us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. Standout streaming segment, adding about 6.5 million global streaming subscribers in the second quarter, reaching 42 million subscribers. Are the current levels of subscription growth on track with your expectations to reach 65 million to 75 million subscribers for Paramount Plus by 2024?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Well, as you said, the quarter as a whole was really successful for us across multiple dimensions, but streaming really being the big standout, both on the subscription and advertising sides of our of our streaming business. On the subscription side, we added 6.5 million subscribers, bringing that total to 42 million, led by our flagship Paramount Plus. And then on the ad-supported side of streaming, really knocked it out of the park with Pluto TV continuing to grow at a very rapid rate on its march to do over $1 billion of revenue this year. And together, we saw 92% streaming revenue growth. So really proud of the streaming results. But the business is doing well across other dimensions as well. Our traditional affiliate business grew 9%. Our traditional advertising business grew 24%. So lots of momentum, lots more to come. And as you pointed out, on the streaming side, really achieving a level of scale that is exciting in terms of where we can go in the future. And yes, I do think we're pacing ahead of expectations. So that's great to see.
Certainly. Additionally, streaming revenue up 92%, as you mentioned. Right now, just two tiers, Essential for $4.99 a month, Premium for $9.99 a month. Any plans to launch additional tiers for the platforms?
We really like the portfolio that we've got in the market now for Paramount Plus. We just launched the Essential tier, as you pointed out, at $4.99 this quarter. And we think that will be attractive to a different set of customers than where we were with our exclusively our premium plan. And ultimately, we want customers to be sticky on Paramount Plus. We know that maximizing lifetime value is all about keeping our customers engaged for a long period of time. And whether they do that in our premium tier or our ad-supported tier, we think there's great value that can be generated from that, and significant upside. Whether that's through increases in ARPU, whether that's through improved monetization on the advertising side. We think the combination of those two tiers puts us in a very strong place.
You mentioned Pluto TV a moment ago. I want to come back to that. And in the earnings call, mentioned that you expect Pluto TV to generate more than $1 billion in revenue in 2021. Can you describe the data or the trend that the company has evaluated to support that expectation?
Yeah, well, look, the reality is Pluto TV has just been growing like a rocket ship. It wasn't that long ago the business was doing $70 million of revenue, and as I said, it's going to break $1 billion this year. In the Q2, Pluto's revenue grew 169% year on year, grew 44% even sequentially, and that was in a quarter where we didn't even launch any new markets. So great monetization improvements, significant improvements in watch time per user, added a ton of content to the service. And we're going to see it continue to grow on both the user dimension going forward and also the engagement and then monetization dimension. So when you put all those together, that's what's driving the revenue growth, and we think there's a lot more to come on that front as well.
In terms of new markets, ViacomCBS recently inking deals with Cox Communications, plus a partnership with Sky. What type of additional revenue opportunity is these new partnerships projected to open up?
Yeah. Well, the examples you mentioned really underscore the fact that as a company, we really do believe in the power of partnerships. And the announcement with Sky today, I think, is a great example of that. This is a deal that's going to allow Sky to bring truly a market-leading bouquet of content to its subscribers, both linear content and, importantly, streaming content. And for us, it's a way to rapidly accelerate our presence in some key European markets by bundling our services with Sky and also having the marketing muscle of Sky behind us. So we think that's going to be a big accelerant for us as we begin to expand our presence in Europe. And we're looking forward to doing more of those types of deals and also continuing to have a direct-to-consumer presence in all of our key markets.
As that expansion moves forward, even in early days, are there some of the figures that you keep in the back of your mind to say and to deem whether or not it is a success in early days and early innings?
Well, right now we are focused on growth, growth both in terms of subscriber growth and also revenue growth. And as I pointed out, what we're seeing right now is really compelling. 6.5 million new subscribers, 92% streaming revenue growth. So those are the metrics we look at. When we sign these new partnerships, we do it with an eye toward continuing to push that growth forward. So we like what we see today.
Okay, two more questions for you while we have you. First and foremost, CBS and the NFL agreement, that was announced earlier this year. You've got rights for AFC coverage, that dates back to 1998. Sunday afternoon games, simulcast on Paramount Plus. Is there a net revenue effect that you forecast that the NFL games on Paramount Plus will contribute to advertising revenue as well?
Well, we think the NFL is a big part of Paramount Plus, and that's one of the reasons why when we entered into our new long-term deal with the NFL, it was critical to us to have very broad streaming rights, and we're really excited to be bringing the NFL back to Paramount Plus in Q3 when the new season gets started. And yes, we do think that will be a contributor to subscription growth. We think it'll be a contributor to engagement. We know that sports is a great gateway, so to speak, for Paramount Plus. People come in to watch a football game, and now we have a very diverse portfolio of content that we can make available to them and engage them for that next title. So we like what we can do with the NFL and other sports, by the way, which have proven to be very effective for us. Things like UEFA Champions League, and then we'll also have SEC football coming in Q3. So for sports fans, Paramount Plus is definitely the place to be.
Naveen, just lastly, while we have you here, got to talk about the theatrical division. This year we saw streaming films, several streaming debuts for new films to both theaters and streaming platforms simultaneously. Paramount Plus plans to take a similar approach with the launch of Paw Patrol, the movie there. And where have discussions, I wonder, where have discussions with theatrical partners accelerated as the box office charts its own reopening and turnaround strategy?
Yeah, well, the key thing to know on that front, Brad, is that number one, movies are very important to us, but we don't think that it's a one-size-fits-all approach in this day and age. As you pointed out, we have had some movies that we've launched exclusively on our streaming platforms, like the movie Infinite with Mark Wahlberg. We've had other movies that we've taken through a theatrical channel like A Quiet Place Part 2, and then after a 45-day run in the theaters, made available on Paramount Plus, where it's been very successful. And then we've got other movies like Paw Patrol that we're going to launch in August, where it will be released in a theater and then simultaneously made available on Paramount Plus. And the fact is, we think you got to look at it on a title-by-title basis. There are some movies that are ideally situated for theatrical release, and others that work on streaming, and still others that work in both platforms. So we're going to, as I said, look at it title by title, and we're going to have open dialogues with all of the constituents involved in producing these movies. Those relationships are extremely important to us. And we're going to try to do the best that we can to maximize the value of that content while we navigate a pandemic and some ongoing changes in consumer behavior. But at the end of the day, as I said, films are important. They create a lot of value. And moreover, we're really excited about the movie slate that we got coming the rest of this year and then going into 2022.
I guess just as a brief follow-up, and you kind of alluded to it there, how does that kind of reshape the contracts, the negotiations for some of the biggest names that are a part of those motion pictures?
Well, as I said, we look at each of those deals independently. We care deeply about making sure that the talent and the full spectrum of constituents, both on the distribution side and the creation side, are part of those decisions. And then ultimately, we try to maximize the value, and you'll see us continue to do that going forward.
Naveen, certainly do appreciate the time this morning, and congratulations on the growth that you've seen across several segments of the business over this most recent quarter. We'd love to check back in the future as well. Naveen Chopra, who's the Chief Financial Officer over at ViacomCBS, joining us here on Cheddar.